Did you know that in research studies of people who have achieved and sustained long-term weight management, most of them credited having a support team as one of the keys to their success? Well, it's true. The world is full of challenges and temptations that can sabotage your weight goals. Even the people in your life can unknowingly throw you off track. That is why building a support team that is there to guide you, cheer you on, and keep you focused is crucial to lasting success. So in today's episode, I'll be breaking down the 5 key people you need on your weight support team to help you not only reach your goals, but sustain them for the long haul. So let's find out who these 5 people are. Grab your contacts list and come on in. Did you know that our struggle with weight doesn't start with the food on your plate or get fixed in the gym? 80% of our weight struggle is mental. That's right. The key to unlocking long-term weight release and management begins in your mind. Hi there, I'm Rita Black. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, weight loss expert, best-selling author, and the creator of the Shift Weight Mastery process. And not only have I helped thousands of people over the past 20 years achieve long-term weight mastery, I am also a former weight struggler, carb addict, and binge eater. And after 2 decades of failed diets and fad weight loss programs, I lost 40 pounds with the help of hypnosis. Not only did I release all that weight, I have kept it off for 25 years. Enter the Thin Thinking podcast, where you too will learn how to remove the mental roadblocks that keep you struggling. I'll give you the thin thinking tools, skills, and insights to help you develop the mindset you need, not only to achieve your ideal weight, but to stay there long term and live your best life. Sound good? Let's get started. Happy November, everyone. Come on in and have a seat, get cozy. We are officially in November, and as we all know, lots is going on in the world. But I like to keep things cozy in here as we focus on the world of weight mastery with you, my thin thinking community. So come on in and just get a break from all the hullabaloo that is going on in the outside world. We are going to talk about building a weight mastery team today. And in thinking about our podcast, I was thinking about my wonderful team that helps create the Thin Thinking podcast. And I want just to show them my gratitude and say thank you, everyone. I have amazing Sarah and Daryl and their team, and they just do all the amazing behind the scenes stuff that allows me to come here every week, and not being a technical person, as you know I am not. Well, if you don't know me, now you know I'm not. I am certainly not editing or doing any of the fancy stuff behind the scenes. Oh no, or you would never have heard podcast number 1. So I have to thank them for making my world work and for keeping this show. And it feels so good to be supported. And it's amazing when you think about all the things you do in your life, about how many people are probably involved somehow in what you do. I mean, we talk about parenting. It takes a village. Well, for sure it does. And you think about, your work life and all the people that are involved in, whatever your organization or what you do for you. I am going to be having surgery later this month, fingers crossed, because I belong to Kaiser Permanente, who really doesn't believe in scheduling things too tightly until the very last minute. My husband, in the spring had a knee replacement surgery, and I think they moved that deadline a couple of times. So I can say this month with somewhat, hopefully it will happen. But, I'll keep you posted. It's not. It's a pretty big surgery, and I'll talk about it later. I'm going to get into other things now, but the point being is that as I'm approaching surgery, I'm sure I'll be freaking out, and then I'll have to share everything with you. So stand, what should I say? Stand by for that one. But for right now, the only point I'm making is, I have this surgery has been sort of in the making for a number of years. It's something I knew I was going to have done. And eventually, and so I had many people like supporting me and making the decision to have it. Then, because it's a preventive surgery, and then also all the people who, and my medical team, my doctor, my old doctor, who then is retired but is consulting with the person who's going to be doing the surgery, and then my, the many, many people who obviously, as you know, in the world of medicine, support them. But then I also will have my recovery team, meaning my husband and maybe my son if he comes home from college for the weekend or so while I'm recovering, and my friends my friend Julie, who I hike with, who is a former nurse, who has offered to support me. And, I'm lucky. I just have amazing people around me, and I'm sure my team who help me with my business, they will be, standing in for me while I'm, coming off of all the major drugs afterwards. So, you think about like all those people involved in your life, and you think about all the many things you do in your life and all the different people. So it takes a village, and rarely, though, do people think about how essential having a team is with weight management, and how people often really don't reach out for help. Because with weight, first of all, we're an island, right? We think we're alone. Nobody suffers like we do. We don't want to share our struggle, or if we have in the past, we don't want to, we don't want to have that, like, oh, you're on another diet, or oh, blah, blah, blah. So we kind of keep it to ourselves. And because there's so much shame wrapped around it, so often we're hiding our struggle. And so we're just going to dive into letting that belief go, because you are not a weight loss island, my friend. And because that, before we dive deeper, I also want to invite you and remind you that I have a free masterclass that you can join for free, where we do some weight hypnosis. So if you haven't done hypnosis before, you can get a flavor for it. And where you're going to get support from me and insights that I think are going to be really helpful for you. We really talk about a lot this, what I see as the main driver of the biggest struggle for most people, and they don't even know it, which is called the weight struggle cycle. It's a mental habit that keeps us struggling. It's the number one subconscious habit. And when you can break free from that and break through that, then that unlocks the doors to dissolve all the other sub-habits, which are the things that you feel like you're probably struggling with the most. But they're all kind of locked underneath this bigger mental cyclical habit that we get stuck in and keeps us struggling. So sign up, get some support. It's free. You can do it from your phone, your tablet, your desktop. I mean, come on, people. It's the links are in the show notes, so check it out. Now, let's dive into it, building a team for our weight mastery. So why do you think having a support team is cited by people who have been successful in the long term? I actually think having a support system is so important that I have actually made it one of the skills of long-term permanent weight mastery, which are basically built, or I didn't make these skills up. They were gleaned from a lot of research into long-term success studies. So, and I saw, people who are successful are supported. And research shows that even in support groups, that people are twice as successful for long-term success in any type of endeavor, but definitely in weight. They have found that people in weight support groups are twice as successful and for twice the amount of time. Now, like I said, it's really easy to give up when we're by ourselves. Most of the reasons that we aren't consistent with weight is that we throw up our hands and we give up at some point. We give up on ourselves mostly. Anybody who struggles with their weight, I consider them a very disciplined person, because endeavoring so much to manage your weight, it requires discipline, it requires willpower. But I think the big problem we have, or the biggest challenge we have, is our self-communication. And so that's why support can be so helpful, because support can help bolster our own communication with ourselves in this area of our life. So here is the group without much further ado. This is the list of our support team, our Power 5. And I'm going to give the credit for this Power 5 to Stacy Powers, who is a coach. Now, this Power 5 could be used for any endeavor, not just weight, but I certainly know that I had these 5 positions filled, not on purpose necessarily, but I naturally gravitated, would be the word, towards these key figures in my weight mastery, and continue to have these figures in my life, maybe filled by different people, because people do come in and out of our lives, or we maybe need somebody with a little more experience or a little more compassion or a different person. So you want to have these types of people in your life, but those positions may change. So here are the 5 positions. So the first one is mentor, and I'm going to get into each one of those, but I'm just saying. The first one is mentor. The second one is a coach. The third one is a peer. And the fourth one is the cheerleader. And the fifth one is the friend. All right. So, and you can have more than one of any of these positions, but these are the types of positions you want to start thinking about filling for your weight mastery journey. So the first one is the mentor. And I would say a mentor focuses on providing guidance and advice for navigating your journey. A mentor, hopefully, is somebody who's been where you have been and can provide you the path and the vision and the inspiration, that knowledge. If they can do it, you can do it. So they're inspiring you, they're guiding you, they've been there before, they've been in the trenches. Now, they can be somebody from your life, but it can also be somebody that you listen to on a podcast, like yours truly. I'd love to think of myself as your mentor or one of your mentors, or on YouTube, or some book that you read. And I have found mentors in books and cassette tapes back in the day. Then I moved on to CDs, and then I moved on to listening to podcasts. I consider I have a number of mentors in my life for varying degrees. I have a gardening mentor I listen to, and I have a mental health and mindfulness mentor. So I have lots of mentors in my life, and I hope that you start thinking of, if you don't have mentors, that these are very key positions for you to fill, and you don't have to pay for them. They can be there out in the world, but they're just somebody who's inspiring you and leading you forward on the path. Even if you don't know them personally, you can feel like you know them personally. Because mentorship, for me, when I was in my weight release mode, it wasn't just about food and exercise, but it was definitely how I managed my feelings and emotions, how I learned to love and nurture myself. So it wasn't that I didn't have mentors for nutrition, but I did look for mentors, or were drawn to mentors that were helping me mentally as well as with the food and exercise, if that makes sense. So definitely choose your mentor or mentors. Now, a coach, in my mind, is a little different than a mentor. Although they could be the same person, their role with you is a little different when they're coaching you rather than when they're mentoring you, because a coach works with you specifically to keep you accountable, to set goals, whether that's daily, weekly, monthly. And a coach will keep your mind focused specifically on meeting milestones, whether that's a weight release goal, an exercise goal, improving eating, or all three. A coach is going to help you decide what is next. So they're going to be helping you focus your mind in a specific way. They're going to also help you decide on how much you can bite off, so to speak, meaning how much you can take on without overwhelming yourself. And they're also going to hold you accountable. And then if you don't follow through, they're not going to shame you, hopefully. But what they're going to do is look at what didn't work. Or if you don't meet that specific goal, they're going to look at what didn't work. Again, not to shame you, but to really help you learn and improve. So now in the shift process, we work on developing what I would call an inner coach. Yes, so it's great to have an outer coach if you can afford one, or to get your friend to be your coach for you. Sometimes people coach each other, or you have a coach in your life. Great, but I really am a big believer in having a coach in your mind 24/7, and so that's why in our Shift Weight Mastery process we definitely work on cultivating that inner coach, that one that can help us be successful in the long term. I definitely utilize my inner coach every day of my life, for for 27 years. So I'm glad I took the time and energy to develop my inner coach. And I think once you have an inner coach, it really gives you a lot of confidence. It really helps for you to have that goal setting, rational part of your mind rather than the critical and rebellious part of your mind. And I know we've talked about that a lot in this podcast, so I know you're up to speed on this, but definitely choose the coach. You could have somebody in your life, like I said, work with you and coach you and hold you accountable. I had this girl when I was releasing weight. I had this girl who was training to be a fitness coach, and she helped me a lot, especially with keeping track of things. So one thing she helped me with is I had a really long plateau, and I was getting really a little frustrated. Although, I wasn't on a diet, I wasn't trying to lose weight super fast. I hit this long plateau. And so she had me track my food and exercise. And what was interesting is because we kind of treated it as an experiment. She said, just do it as an experiment. Write down your food and exercise. Look at how much you're taking in. Because I was convinced I wasn't eating hardly anything and that I was really exercising a lot. And I tracked and I saw something really fascinating. I saw on the weekend I was overeating, and that all that exercise that I thought I was doing wasn't doing enough to release weight with the amount of food that I was eating. I ate less during the week, but my mind, interestingly, was focusing on Monday and Tuesday when I was being very focused, and not so much on the weekend when I was a little blousier, eating more, maybe having some cocktails or drinking. And so that was so enlightening because then all of a sudden it made sense why I plateaued. I got really clear on the tweaks that I had to make in my behavior. So it was really helpful for her to guide me and step in and say, hey, try this. And then she would look at my stuff with me and walk me through it. And it really helped me get strategic. It helped me get specific. And it helped me not kid myself, basically, on thinking, because our brain, underestimates the amount we eat a significant amount, almost half when we struggle with our weight. So it was really helpful for me to get clear. It wasn't like I was dieting, but it was more getting clear and being what I like to call an inner scientist, getting the facts and getting really clear with everything. And that really helped me get clear on the path that I needed to take to release the rest of my weight. So I think a coach also reminds you of your original goal, because sometimes it's easy to give up and we forget why we're on a weight release journey in the first place, especially after we release a certain amount of weight and maybe we get out of the initial pain. A coach is also there to remind you, hey, look, it wasn't just about getting out of the pain. It was about you wanted to be super healthy. You wanted to get super fit. I'm a stand for your original goal and commitment to yourself. I remember writing the book From Fat to Thin Thinking, and I got to the middle of it. And as much as I love helping people in this way, I got really down on myself. I was like, why am I even writing this book? Nobody's going to read it. I'm going to get these really bad reviews on Amazon. And I had all these negative, just like all this negative stuff came flowing in. But my husband was my book coach. And he was so helpful because he has written so many books. And I mean, he's just incredibly a prolific writer. And he said, look, you should definitely just remember, who are you writing this book for? And what is the value you want to bring? And so he helped me, write a little list of all the person I was writing to. He's like, just think of one person you're writing your book to. And it was so helpful for me to get out of my little me, and I'm a victim and, blah, whatever, that really just negative head you get in when you take on a big endeavor. It's really easy to forget and get down on yourself. And how many people give up in the middle of their weight release journey? A lot of people hit a plateau. Oh, it's too hard. I don't care. Oh, and I'm going to love myself for who I am, which you should. You should love yourself for who you are right now. But if you have a goal and you wanted to reach it, you want to be healthier, you want to be fitter, you want to be stronger, whatever that goal is, it's really wonderful to have somebody at your side reminding you who you are and who you want to be. All right. So now, number 3, a peer, P-E-E-R, a peer. And a peer is somebody who is on the same journey as you. How cool is that, right? Somebody you can complain to, exchange ideas with, get insights from insights from how they are doing, and talk about food ideas, exercise ideas. Our membership, our monthly mastery membership group is a great example. People are all on the same journey. And maybe you have a group on Facebook or online. And even within our membership, there are smaller groups of people like buddy systems who check in with each other on a weekly basis. They report their progress on Friday. There's some walking groups who are people who have created walking groups at work, who at lunchtime they go out and they walk. I'm thinking about Melanie, who's kind of gotten people from work to go walking with her at lunchtime. And so who can be a peer with you in your life? When I was releasing weight, I definitely had some other people who were releasing weight that I would exercise with, and we would talk about what we were doing and what worked and didn't work. And I still have weight peers. I do this with people in my life who I've developed a healthy lifestyle with, meaning, we've been going and walking and hiking on a weekly basis. I have a friend I hike with on Monday. I have my friend I bike with on Sundays. And we have been doing this for years, and we really do motivate each other about staying healthy. We've gone through a lot of different life experiences together, having children. Now we're, going to be empty nesters, and, we're heading into, new decades together, and different goals and different focuses come into play, and peers are definitely people who can help you, give you ideas and walk through this together, not feeling so alone. All right, so number 4 is having a cheerleader, somebody who believes in you and knows you can do it. They may not be on the journey with you, but they believe in you, and they believe in you deep down. They know where you are going, and they can be somebody you celebrate your milestones with. And they can also be somebody who helps pick you up if you've had a bad day or a bad week or a bad month. My husband was this for me on my journey of weight mastery. He loved me for who I was, so he never said, hey, gotta lose a few pounds. Never, ever. And I loved him for that so much. But he also knew that my freedom and my peace of mind were so important, because I was so unhappy being in the weight struggle. And he just saw me struggle so much, so often, all the time. I was obsessed, and he just said, what are we going to do? Let's, so when I started my journey, he was helping me, just the biggest cheerleader anyone. Hey, you did that. And it wasn't just about weight release. It was about overcoming obsession with food and binge eating and all those things. He's like, wow, you went to that party and you made healthy choices and you did great. So it was nice to have somebody to be victorious with and to notice. But there were also, he was not perfect. There were times I had to remind him, hey, don't bring those bagels home. You're my cheerleader, right? So who can you get to be your cheerleader? Or maybe you already have someone. And again, they could be also the peer. These roles can overlap, but I'm just kind of focusing you on just like different aspects of support that you want. And sometimes, a lot of times, our support system needs reminding, and that's why it's good to have more than one type of support. And our inner support team, meaning our inner coach, also needs reminding sometimes. Okay, so last but not least, the friend, number 5 position. Somebody who knows you and can hear you bitch and moan. Yeah, it's tough. It's hard, but you're going to keep going, right? They listen to you without judgment. Sometimes my friends, like my best friend Susan, never struggled with her weight, but she knew me so well, and she knew the pain of when I went through with the yo-yo dieting, and she was definitely there for me, and she could be a shoulder I could cry on, and an empathetic and not non-judgmental ear to listen to me, because sometimes it really just helped to talk about all the secret stuff and get it out. And that was stuff I didn't want to talk to my husband about. He was my cheerleader, but she was somebody I could just tell it all to. I remember telling her that I was bulimic, and about my bulimia. I wasn't, my weight struggle spanned many years, so there were a few years there that I was bulimic, and I was taking laxatives and I was throwing up. And it was such a secret, and I was so ashamed about it. And I didn't tell anyone. And then when I started my journey, I had worked through my bulimia, but I still had never told anybody about it. And I just told her, yeah, this is what, and we were even roommates when this was going on. And she was like, wow, I never knew. Gosh, I love you. I'm so sorry you had to go through all that. And it was just so freeing to have somebody who you could be naked with, just bare your soul and tell all your like diet and what you consider shameful secrets to binging for days, hiding food, eating out of the trash can, all that stuff too. And they just sit there and love you and say, wow, and I still love you. And that is such a powerful experience. So having somebody like that in your life is definitely wonderful as well. Okay, so I hope that has been helpful. I'm going to review these all now just so you get it. If you want to write them down, go for it. 1, a mentor, people who's going to be your guide. 2, a coach, somebody who's going to get you specifics, set really specific goals, and help you stay accountable. A peer, somebody who's in it with you, who's doing on the same journey. A cheerleader, somebody who's going to jump up and down and be supportive of you even when you're down. And a friend, someone who can just be there, who can stand by you, know who you are, and love you for who you are today, and is also supportive of the you are becoming. So if you don't have anyone yet, that is okay. We have opened up a little room in your subconscious mind for those people now to come in. And I hope I'm one of those first people as one of your mentors. I would be honored. And don't forget to let me support you by signing up for my free masterclass called How to Stop the Start Over Weight Struggle Cycle and Begin Releasing Weight for Good. The links are in the show notes. I look forward to seeing you there. And remember, the key, and probably the only key to unlocking the door of the weight struggle, is inside you. So keep listening and find it. I will see you here, same time, same place, next week. Thanks for listening to the Thin Thinking Podcast. Did that episode go by way too fast for you? If so, and you want to dive deeper into the mindset of long-term weight release, head on over to www.shiftweightmastery.com. That's www.shiftweightmastery.com, where you'll find numerous tools and resources to help you unlock your mind for permanent weight release, tips, strategies, and more. And be sure to check the show notes to learn more about my book, From Fat to Thin Thinking, Unlock Your Mind for Permanent Weight Loss, and to learn how to subscribe to the podcast so that you never miss an episode.